Seems just the same old routine. Blowing trees, writing these bars, line after line, mining for a diamond, but a dime is what I find. Hiding from the truth by simply coasting through these hard times with green, even though I'm feeling blue. But I gotta face the facts, girl, you know that it's true. And maybe what I'm supposed to do is not to get so close to you. But these days the only things that seem great are fading away, and the only time I feel home is when I'm alone or far away. But the road call says the wind blows, 10 missed calls on my flip phone, so it stays closed. Staring out my window while my mind slowly goes off into my headphones, hoping that the dough will be worth it for the show, but who knows?
Yeah, let's go and roll it up, blow it all away. No sense in growing up, we laugh like kids all day, and there's nothing you can say that will ever make us change. No, we're never gonna change.
Man, day after day is just the same old thing. Working class life, and yes, it surely will bring a food to the table and a roof when it rains. But for the most part, you're just doing the same thing, a part of a machine with the ball and a chain. You try to be happy, yet all you feel is pain. It's a shame to use your brain and know that some will never change. But if insanity's the game, then you can take my hand and play. Life has a rhythm that I ride to, and you can come along if you would like to. And I can show you what it's like to walk in my shoes, to learn how to love just like I do. Look me in the eye and you will find truth. I'm testifying to the lying in my mic booth, and you're hating on me cause I ain't like you, and I ain't like you.
Yeah, let's go and roll it up, blow it all away. No sense in growing up, we laugh like kids all day, and there's nothing you can say that will ever make us change. No, we're never gonna change. Yo, my life is like a movie that nobody's producing. I write the music but nobody is moving, cause don't nobody care, and everyone's confused till the characters change and never reaching a conclusion. And I don't know if I'll make it to the end, cause all I know is after we begin, the wind shifts us in many different directions, like the pen lifts up off the paper disconnected from anything.
Alright, and we are up and running, and we are here. Hello, hello everybody. It is good to see everybody. I hope everybody is happy, and happy Saturday.
Saturday?
Dang it. I must be off. Happy Sunday.
There you go.
How is everybody doing today? I hope everybody is feeling good. Everybody's feeling safe. It's a beautiful day, and there's nothing that could go wrong if you
I'm feeling hot.
To. What?
I said, I'm feeling hot.
You're
baby.
feeling hot?
And I say that because it was like 93 freaking degrees outside today.
Oh, was it hot for you?
The spring's here. Spring's here.
Well, that's a good thing. That is a good thing.
See, the last time it got warm, I'm like, okay, I can take my winter blankets off my bed. So I folded them up. You know, I washed everything. I put them in bags and I put them in storage because you don't need blankets when it's 1,000 degrees outside.
Exactly.
Then we had a cold snap. And by cold snap, I mean it got down into the 40s, the 30s or 40s at night, which is cold.
Yes.
We're here. And so I dug out my damn blankets again. So I finally put those away. Got all my spring cleaning done, I guess, in the yard. I did that last week. But it's everything's looking good.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
I'm ready to have to water my foundation to keep it from cracking. Because that's what we do in the summertime here in Texas. Because we have clay soil, so it will dry out and it will contract and it'll move away from your foundation.
Okay.
So you have to keep it moist. Yes, I'm using that word. Yeah, you have to keep it. You have to keep it moist to keep it from doing that. We don't have that cool thing people call basements. That's one thing I miss about living in the Midwest was basements.
Yeah.
We always had a basement. That's where you throw the kids. The kids' playroom or maybe the adult's office or something is down there. So you got this basement, which is it's not a real visible part of the house. You just throw all your shit down there. And I miss the basement. I miss having a basement. I lived in Ohio for a couple of years. After I got back from Iraq, I moved. My ex-wife got a job. She's a college professor. Yeah. So up in Iraq, and she's here stateside buying houses and then moving her and the kids and all of our shit there. So we landed in Ohio, and it was great because I had a basement again. That was so much fun.
Well, thank you, Wall. Wall says she likes my hat.
Army, it's your Army head. You shaved your head.
I did shave my head.
Jealous.
My wife, we have clippers, and she said, you know what? She says, I can tell it's irritating you. Do what you can do, and then I'll finish it up. And I got most of it done. My arm, because of my arthritis, couldn't get back all the way just in one area, so she took care of it for me. And
what a lovely lady.
Yes, she's a wonderful lady. She puts up with me, so she's got to be special. or crazy, one of the two.
Yeah, thinking, see, we have, this is really good. And I'm not, I kind of say this, I am serious, but I'm not serious.
Yes.
It's really good that the government is allowing people to go out and states are reopening. Mm-hmm. That feels really, really wrong saying, just because I hate everything that's happening and the way that things are happening right now as far as lockdowns, and then some states are a lot worse than others. Michigan, California are really horrible, and I think there's an extreme overreaching of power.
I agree with you 100%.
But I'm happy to see that states are opening back up again.
Yeah, you know where I'm at? They're actually opening up. Washington
That's
State
crazy.
is actually...
You guys have you're like number 3 on the infection list.
Yes. But it's actually the downward curve has been, the infection rate has really gone down. So, all of it. And so they went ahead and they're allowing phase 1 to happen. The sad part is where I go camping, they're allowing people to go out to the lake. They're allowing fishing. They're allowing people to go out on boats, but they're not allowing camping.
That sucks, man. You're going to miss your camping trip, which was what, next week, right?
Yeah, it was supposed to be next week, and I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm hoping that we'll be into phase 3, or at least it's up to the governor how he decides with certain things like camping. I'm hoping he lifts the camping thing because they're looking at changing over to phase 2 mid-month, and phase 3 started next month, and next month I go again, and hopefully by then, crossing my fingers, I'll be actually able to go out camping.
I think most of the states are doing about the same thing. They're doing it in phases, and they're separating them by 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So we're like a week into phase 1 now, and they're looking at the trends going down.
Yeah.
I think the ultimate decision is up to the mayors of the towns, but the government's providing the guidance.
Yeah.
The governor is providing guidance because, Houston is a battle zone right now as far as this COVID-19 goes.
Yeah.
Dallas is not a happy place to be. Fort Worth, where I live, is not far behind Dallas. We're not as bad as Dallas, but I'm not sure. They're wanting to see a downward trend in infections. I've been tracking these infection rates since March 28th.
Yeah.
We opened up on Thursday night? No, or Friday morning. First thing Friday morning. People in certain industries got to go back to work, which I know people are itching to do.
Oh, Branko says he wishes...
Branko mentioned he just wants to go back to work.
Yeah, the people want to go back to work. Oh, by the way, hi, Holly. Hi, Heath. Branko, I get you, man. Hello, Albert. It's good to see everybody. It really is. At least you're here, and you're not in the hospital.
Not in the hospital, which is it's good. Anyway, I was talking about the trends.
Yeah.
And every day since the 28th, but more importantly since the 1st, which is when we opened back up again.
Yeah.
Is like we might have had 130 infections, let's say on Friday, but Saturday there was 160 infections. Then so I woke up this morning and there was like 230 infections and that's data from the day prior.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what are they looking at the state as a whole? Are they looking at Is it county by county? I don't know exactly what and by they I mean the government, and those people who are giving us permission to leave our homes in a recreational type style. They opened up the malls, but the malls are limited to 25% capacity, and I've got questions about that.
Yeah.
Malls are huge. 25% capacity is thousands and thousands of people. Or are the stores individually going, okay, this is a hot topic or whatever, and you can fit 30 people in here, so you take 25% of that. I don't know exactly. Are they just saying the entire mall 25%? I don't know.
I don't know either. And we don't know how they count their numbers. We don't know how they get them. And by the way, hello, thank you very much, Magic. And Z2, don't need to make smart aleck comments like that.
That's a legitimate question. Where are your eyes?
I was looking at the chats.
We got lots going on here, George.
Yep, George. I look at the chat rooms. I'm monitoring at all times so that if someone has a legitimate question, I can at that point reply. That way we can have interaction, because at this point, I think that's a big thing, and that people are kind of stressing about not being able to interact, because even if you've got a family, that's only those members. What are you going to do after that? Interaction is a part of life. I mean,
even as introverted as some of us are,
yeah,
you still like to interact with people. I enjoy going out and talking to people. When I'm out, if I'm out grocery shopping, I like talking to people. I'm not going to just mind my own business, get my stuff, and leave. I do now, but I like to interact with people. I like to talk to the cashier. I like to talk to people at the deli counter, at the meat counter. But it's like you can't do that anymore.
No,
people aren't. I mean, they're scared, or they're just taking extra precautions, and no one's being social.
Exactly, and you can't blame them because they've been scared into it. Is Kim dead? Cause that pic looks like how I was on pass in South Korea. There are people are wondering if Kim Jong-un is dead. Because
I don't know, and I don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
If he is, fine. If he's not, that's fine too. I don't care.
Exactly. I mean, at this point, if he's dead, he's dead. I'm sure someone will pick up. Their leadership over there, they all have the same mind. They're all the same thing. It is what it is. At this point, I'm more wanting to see our economy get back up. I want us to lift up again. I mean, it's more important right now for people to get back to their jobs. They're saying right now, and my wife works in insurance. They're talking...
Just insurance is still, I mean, you don't need to go anywhere for insurance unless you're an adjuster. But
they keep numbers. And they work, small businesses have to have insurance. Well,
right.
They said they've lost over 50% of business in that area.
How's that?
In other words...
But if you have a brand new car, you have to have insurance on that.
You're talking, in other words, the small businesses are folding. In other words, they're not going to be able to open up.
I know a lot of small businesses are really having a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
There were some of the incentive programs. That money got gobbled up pretty quick by universities and sports teams and I mean businesses that really didn't need the money.
And there's actually a lot of companies that have decided to give the money back. What was it? Was it Harvard?
Harvard. They got what, 9 mil?
Yeah.
9 mil after, and on top of what was it? What do they have? A trust, some kind of trust that they already had, where they had like millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars, tens of millions.
And that's yeah, they realized, because the one thing that people came back and said, look, you got government money already coming in. Your stuff's already taken care of. Why are you taking that money?
It just it makes things little less bad. I mean, it's everybody's suffering. Businesses
Yes.
more so, I guess, because it's not just it's your business, and your business is comprised of whatever products you are providing or selling or whatever. Not to mention your employees. It doesn't matter if you have 2 employees or 10,000 employees. I think a small business is something under 100 employees. But still, you kind of a business it's a family. It's a family. It doesn't matter if you work at the local hardware store or a garden supply shop, a marina or whatever. It's you work there with a bunch of people that you spend most of your time with.
And I agree with Eric. He brought up a good point. A lot of people are going to be scared to work for small businesses at this point, because even if they haven't folded, who says they're doing good?
Well, that's an excellent point.
And then on top of that, if you plan for your future at all, you're going to sit there and say, what happens in the fall if this happens again? Do I want to be a part of a company that's going to fold?
Right. I mean, it's changed my paradigm as far as how much money I want to have on hand. Usually, I keep I like to have at least 2 months of living expenses in the bank.
Yeah.
And now, it wouldn't be a bad idea to push that to 4 or maybe 6 months.
And that's what I'm looking at too, is making sure I have money set aside also.
But the thing is, if you don't make a lot of money, that's really hard to do.
Exactly. And that is the problem. And this is what I brought this up this week. Actually, no, I think I brought it up last week. It makes you look at your life a little differently. And it makes you look at the fact that what lessons have you learned from this? Are you ready for something like this to happen? And are you capable of taking care of yourself and your family? And if not, what is it going to take? It's not something to be happy about if you're sitting there going, you know what, this really hurt me, and now I have to, 1, make it up, and 2, plan for another round.
I mean, being prepared isn't a bad thing.
No, but the problem is, what happens if you were one of those people furloughed and you're living off of unemployment? Okay, fine, you get your job back. But you still have to make up for some of the stuff that you had to put to the side. And then you're going to sit there and say, plus I want to put aside money in case it happens again. How do you do that?
This kind of sucks. My youngest daughter is getting ready to graduate, and I had, I wanted to make sure that her education was paid for by the time she graduated.
Yeah.
So, there was nothing hanging over her head.
Yeah.
So and this is days before this freaking Wuhan virus, I'm saying it, started kicking the world's ass.
Yeah.
So I wrote a large check for the balance on her education, and then the lockdown happened like days later.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, well, shit, I could have used that money.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'm not out anything. I'm considered. I work national defense stuff, so I have been going to work, so it hasn't affected me personally. But still, you never know. I mean, if the infection really took off or something, then everybody would be out of work. If anybody in the lab that I work in got sick, they were shutting the entire lab down for 2 weeks.
And Ellis, he brought up a good question. Can the spread of COVID really be stopped if a lot of people are asymptomatic? And that's actually what they're trying to address right now is
if you get online and go to YouTube and look up the SCI show, SCISHOW, they did a real cool breakdown of the virus, and every week they have been putting out videos related to COVID-19 and the way that it's behaving, and they break it down Barney style so everyone can understand it.
Yeah.
If you sit there and you listen to Fauci speak, your brain's going to start leaking out of your ear. But they break it down into layman's terms, and it's really there's like three. You're either symptomatic and contagious, you're pre-symptomatic and contagious, or you're asymptomatic and contagious. There are people who are asymptomatic that just don't get sick, but they're still spreading the virus.
Yes.
The pre-symptomatic ones are the ones that are contagious. They're fixing to get sick, and they're spreading it around. They haven't reached that 100-degree temperature yet. They haven't had the abdominal cramps and all the other things, the cough and all this other stuff. They're starting to feel a little bit ill, but they're still going to work, or they're still going out to the grocery stores or whatnot.
Yeah. And while I agree with you, she's while brought up, and it's not she. I apologize. Yeah, but but is money your own value? No, we can build things. We can use our own brain. I don't know about you, but money doesn't have a value over my soul and my ability. And I agree with you on that. But losing things that help make it so you can survive, shelter, food, that's the problem that people are worried about. And that's the things that people are trying to plan for. It's not necessarily about being rich. It's about having the money to assure that your life doesn't get thrown upside down. Or
if it doesn't derail you.
You're talking to someone. I am a shaman. Okay, so I fully believe in spirit, body, spirit, body, mind, spirit. Do I sit there and go, this is a catastrophe and people are going... No. What I do is I say this is a chance for people to figure out where they are. Some people just got schooled. They found out that they are not as secure as they thought they were. And maybe they need to look at their life a little bit more closely. Other people, on the other hand, can look at their life and say, okay, my life wasn't thrown upside down, but what can I still learn from this? Because being enclosed into four walls has its own detriment, and some people aren't prepared
and there's
for
a lot of protests going on right now all around the country.
Oh yes,
and people are like, well, this is terrorism. I'm like, no. I mean, what would you expect when the government kind of it puts everybody in timeout? And you can't. I'm sorry, you're not essential enough. You're gonna have to close your business until further notice. So, screw you and your 20 or 30 employees. Here's a pen and some paper and fill out these forms, and maybe we'll get you some relief. People are really frustrated at that. People who are sole proprietors. I know a couple of welders in Michigan that can't do their damn job, because they're not considered essential. They were ordered to close by the governor. It's awful. It's horrible.
Yeah.
So there you are, as a sole proprietor, you don't really have the benefits of a small business, because you're not you kind of falling in between. You're not you may do a lot of work, but you don't have that kind of protection that a mom and pop, like a brick and mortar business would have. If you're a photographer, welders, I guess, are the same. Construction, I haven't seen a decrease in any of the construction. Actually, nope. Ice on his show talks about my roads better be fixed after this. Well, guess what, man? They've been doing a shit ton of construction on I-35 up here in the Dallas area.
Oh yeah,
they're striping the roads, they're filling potholes, and they can do that because the traffic has been decreased. There's still traffic.
See, that's what I would have thought of me. All those construction crews. One, they already are social distancing. They don't get on top of each other. So I sat there and I even asked my wife, who works in construction, in insurance, and she says the companies that are trying to move their road contracts forward quicker just because this is the perfect time.
Yeah, the money is already there. Those are municipal funds. The money is already there. They can do this, and they have. I mean, here they have been doing that. The state parks were closed for a while, but then they opened them back up. Marinas are open. They're the boats are going back on the water. It's just kind of weird to know that a bunch of the guys that I work with, everybody here's a sportsman of one kind or another, and they've been kind of getting really antsy because there's nowhere to launch the boats.
Yeah.
The majority of all the boat ramps are on park property, which were closed.
Yeah.
Now they started opening those back up, so that's good.
We're going to go through ups and downs, everybody. We're going to go through this stuff, and there's not a lot. I see someone saying the government has failed the American people in regards to making sure individuals are able to stay home.
Albert Chang said perhaps lower the cost of living.
Lowering the cost. Go ahead.
You can't just say, okay, we're lowering the cost of living, because the cost of living is a very broad term that takes into consideration, the cost of gas, the cost of insuring a property, the cost of applying, credit, business credit, the cost of living, like as your median home value. There's a lot of little ingredients there, so you can't just arbitrarily say we're going to lower the cost of living by 2%.
And
just throwing out a number there.
You have to understand, Albert, the cost of living is actually gauged by salaries and supply and demand.
Will this have an effect on the cost of living? Absolutely, yes. It's going to.
You will probably see the cost of living going down.
I think that it's going to go down. But it's kind of like the stock market, how it trended down for a long time, but it's starting to slowly creep back up.
Yep.
I think once everybody's back to work and everything is back to normal,
then it'll go right back up.
It's going to take off like a rocket ship.
And I agree with that. And
I think it's not going to take us long to get back to where we were.
No, everybody's sitting there saying, "Oh, it's going to take years," and it's like, no, not if the person in charge, like Trump, he wants it back open. He wants the floodgates back open. He wants people back to work. And I'm not dissing on parties, but the Democrats don't. Not because they don't care about people, but because they want socialism. And if they make people despair, if they make it so that jobs are not as available, you become more dependent on the government. Therefore, you want socialism. So it kind of, what do you want? Do you want a thriving economy where you can choose your life, or do you want the government in charge of choosing everything for you? And that right now, that even though everybody's like, oh, we're going across party lines and everything else, no, they aren't. Pelosi still has not made it back into Washington, D.C. She is still playing her games. There are still a lot of political games going on right now, and they shouldn't be.
I think, and this is my assessment, it's just they're doing whatever they can to make it very difficult for President Trump to succeed.
Oh yes,
he was balls to the wall, succeeding, and everything was really, really awesome in the country economically before all this happened. And now we just the shit hit the fan, and
And they're trying to blame it on him when it has nothing to do with him. In fact, because of him, it didn't hit as hard as it could have. And now there's, you heard about this week about Biden, right?
Which thing? It's the
the whole he had a
Tara Reid?
Yeah, the Tara Reid thing.
Yeah.
And he's saying, well, go look up and go do this. And it's like, one, he knows that they can't release the records fully. And two, a lot of the stuff has security clearances on them. So a lot of it's going to be redacted. And he knows this. So people aren't going to get the truth. And Tara Reid he's trying to keep. He's not answering the charges. He's trying to keep her at bay, but he can't. He keeps saying, "Well, this is, this isn't fair." But yet, look what they did to the justice when they made allegations and they proved that there was too many holes in her story. The Me Too movement, where's that right now? Nobody is backing up Tara Reid right now.
And that's also political, in my opinion, because if you look at what's her name, Blasey Ford.
Yeah.
She with all of her accusations against Justice Kavanaugh.
Yeah.
Media was all over that, gobbling that shit up.
Oh yeah.
Then they were just hanging on every word. But now, with the Tara Reid thing, it's just it's interesting, and I'm not really surprised.
No. It bothers me to see it, and I agree, Ellis. It is, the Dems do it to the Republicans do it to the Dems. I agree with that. Okay.
There's two sets of rules.
But my problem is that the media is supposed to be
middle of the road,
and they aren't. And I think people at this point should be calling out the media. At this point, Biden is saying he is going to have a woman vice president running with him, and he's supposed to make the decision, I guess, the first part of, or no, what'd he say? Mid to late May. He's supposed to.
When is the convention?
I think it's in July.
See, I read an article this morning saying that they don't think that he's going to be the nominee. And following the thought process, I'm like, well, that's definitely believable, because it's going to be. This person was saying, okay, here's what I think.
Yeah.
And this is completely possible, is Hillary Clinton as president and Barack Obama as vice president.
It's feasible. And
that is a possible thing.
Yeah, and that's the question is, and here's what has to be questioned, not just by the Republicans, but by the Democrats. Hillary did not run. The only people that have run that are still around are Biden and Sanders. If they put anybody else in...
Dude, Sanders has got to be pissed right now.
Yeah, right? If they put anybody else in, they have just circumvented the people that elected them. If they do that, I think they're going to give Trump way too much ammunition at that point, because he can sit there and say, are these the people that you put forward in the primary? Are these the people you really wanted? And Lord help if they put Hillary, because she's still got too many things to answer for. But there's been talk about, get this, Biden and Hillary or Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
And could have had Tulsi. I mean, that's right. See, I like Tulsi Gabbard because she was actually middle of the road. But
I didn't agree. I didn't agree on a lot of her points, but she's a very palatable.
Yeah,
she's easy to listen to,
and she is
she
not.
Seems like
extreme.
She seems like she listens.
Yes, and Eric said it's August 17th, the convention. See, that's the question. Is the Democrats are scared right now. Even after this COVID, they sat there and said, oh, Biden's numbers have rose to where he will easily beat Trump. It was one poll, and it was one of those polls that is basically run by Democrats.
I don't see a lot of excitement, and I think that's what has the Democrats a little bit worried, actually a lot of bit worried, because their guy right now, the presumptive nominee is Joe Biden.
Yes.
But he's got a lot of issues. He has cognitive issues. He has this Tara Reid thing, which I don't think is going to fade away anytime soon.
And he has a bad record. I mean,
he kind of does. I mean, he's been in the game for forever, for 40 plus years,
30 or 40 years, and he has a very bad record. A lot of bad decision making, and
not to mention his Hunter Biden, his son, and his involvement with all of that.
Not just his son, his brother has been involved in stuff. It's not just his son. There's more to it, and that's another thing that they're scared about. They don't know where it's going to go.
This is definitely going to be a very, very interesting election season.
I agree. And see, here's the other part that they're talking about. If because primaries were called off, if the primaries do not finish out and nobody has the full 1,900 and some delegates, at that point, the convention can actually elect someone.
And I did read that when they were talking about the Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama as vice president thing.
Yep.
The convention can get together and they can decide, regardless of the delegates that are committed.
Yep.
To circumvent that.
Yes, and that's the biggest problem right now. It's in it. The first thing out of, where's the will of the people at that point? The people did not. If Hillary had run, that'd be one thing. But Hillary didn't even run. You can't pull her in and say, well, we're going to go ahead and just hand it to her. If you do that, I think they would have a very big split in their party at that point. I think they would actually destroy their party.
It would be surprising to me to have someone other than either Biden or Sanders be the nominee, especially someone like you said, like with Hillary, that didn't even launch a campaign.
I think, truthfully, if they were to do the smart thing, they'd have Biden and Sanders. Biden and then Sanders as the vice president. The problem that they're scared of about that is they don't trust that Biden will be alive. And then if Biden dies, is Sanders controllable? Or
if Biden just resigns or gets removed from office because of his cognitive issues.
Exactly.
Alexa, pick a Democratic nomination.
Exactly. That's a good one. So that's what we've got coming now.
And you know what else we have coming?
What do we have coming?
Cinco de Mayo.
Ooh.
Tuesday.
Very nice.
Now, guess what? Jose Cuervo. And this isn't in your notes. This is something I just read right before we started.
Why are you singing I Wonder What's Inside My Butthole?
No. No, I don't care what's inside your butthole. But Cinco de Mayo, you can start celebrating right now because if you order out at any Mexican restaurant, save your receipt, take a picture of it and post it with there's two different hashtags you can use. It's like a Cuervo contest, and there's another one.
Yeah.
Or Cuervo contest, or send it to Jose Cuervo. Just go at Jose Cuervo on the Twitter, or hashtag Cinco to go. And they're going to pick 250 people a day, and they're going to get reimbursed the cost of their meal.
Wow, nice.
Well, I thought that was pretty cool. So that's a Jose Cuervo thing.
Ellis, the reason they won't split the party, because he just suggested something I would agree with. They need to split the Democratic Party into moderates and progressives. The reason they won't do that is because if they do that, they'll never win again. Because there's two.
I think it would throw a big wrench into thing because that would leave nowhere for independents to go.
No, it's not only that. You're talking If they split the Democratic Party into the progressives and the moderates,
Oh, to have two sets of nominees?
well, in other words, got to remember, our system is not supposed to be just a two-party system.
Oh, I know.
Our system was set up to have as many parties as you wanted.
And you can. You can. If you look at any ballot, there's probably going to be 20 names on the ballot.
Exactly. But the problem the reason it's been sticking to two parties is because of wanting the ability to have voting power. If the Democrats were to split their party, they'd lose. If they were put in progressive and moderate, the Democrats would lose anywhere between 20 and 40% to the progressive side. At that point, you would not see a Democratic president for 40 or 50 or 60 years, let alone if you did that to senators and congressmen, you'd have the Republicans would rule.
See, one thing the Democratic Party is really, really good at, and this is a compliment, is coalescing behind whomever the nominee is.
Yes.
Back in my experience, just in my lifetime, as far as the Democrats go, they always got behind whoever the nominee was.
Yes.
They're just all in. But I'm not seeing a lot of unity now. A lot of disunity, actually. When Sanders backed out, their supporters were saying, there's no way I'm going to vote for Biden, and they're going to write in Sanders anyway.
And that's what they're scared of. That's exactly right now what the Democrats are scared of, is that they're not going to get those progressives, because the progressives, depending on how far you go as far as a progressive, range anywhere from 20%, which are the radical, to include those 20%, another 20% that are mild radical. Okay, those would be covered by Sanders or Warren. Anybody else, nobody would. They don't want them. So therefore,
Elvis had a good question. He goes, "Could the Republicans ever split?"
No, because even though you say, "Oh, they're the conservative party," quote unquote, they fill their own ranks. If you look, they've got what they call the Freedom Caucus and all that. They already have their own way of looking at it, as they don't consider you in the position of you're so far radical or you're so far moderate. They consider everybody who believes in capitalism and believes in some form of value to be a conservative. They're not as...
I don't think there's a lot of spite in the Republican Party, not as much as in the Democratic Party. In the Democratic Party, if you break ranks, you're pretty much persona non grata, and you'll get drummed out of town. If you're a Republican and you break ranks, it's a difference of opinion.
Yes. In other words, it's you're allowed to have your opinion in the Republican Party. In the Democratic Party, you are not.
I mean, look at Rand Paul.
Yeah.
Rand Paul is a conservative. He's a Republican, but he's a constitutionalist. He's like, limit the power of the government. And sometimes he throws a wrench into some legislation.
Oh, yeah. And Ellis, I agree with you. Compared to other countries, even the Democrats are conservative. The problem is they're knocking on the door of socialism, which turns into communism. They want the power. They are power hungry beyond what a lot of countries who are already communistic would be. They want to go for a major grab, because if they can get the major grab while we still have an economy, they can at that point, we've got the military, we've got we've got what it would take to destroy other countries. And that's what they want. They want the power. They want to tell you what to do, how to think, and how to be. That is the ultimate goal of any socialistic or communistic setup. And that's what we have to look at as what the Democrats are trying to do right now. I mean, look at AOC. Look at her group of five. You listen to them. It's not about representing the people that voted them. In fact, right now, there's talk that AOC, good chance that when she comes up for re-election, she will lose. And she knows it. She lost her constituency 50,000 jobs.
Are you talking about the Amazon thing?
Yeah. Hey,
that's just one of the things. I think the problem, I like AOC. I really, really, really like her. The problem with her is, I mean, I don't agree with her politically. I think that the way that she is speaking is what her reality is, and that's what the reality of her constituency is.
No, that is what they found out, is her constituency right now, she has an approval rating of less than 20%.
What I'm saying is she is speaking the truth to the people that she is representing.
Yes.
And she's always going for the underdog. She's the people that are working 2 or 3 jobs, the people that are minimally skilled working minimum wage jobs.
Yes.
And she's kind of, I don't know if she believes it or not, but there's power to be gained as a Democrat to say you have-nots need to be jealous of the people that that have college educations or that make $20 an hour or whatever.
Yes.
She's always look at all of this stuff that they have.
Oh, yes.
Meaning anybody that has more than them. And that's, I think, how she's getting her I don't like to say power, but that's where her influence is coming in.
Oh, and I agree with you. And Wall, don't worry about it. Politics will be not talked about in the second hour, so don't worry about that.
He said fluffy pancakes. I want fluffy pancakes.
So no, what's going on right now? And the reason that you may sit there and say, well, what about COVID? That's the problem. All this is going on right now with the COVID, and people aren't necessarily paying attention. People aren't hearing what's really going on. I mean, the talk about possibly just throwing out Biden, throwing out Sanders, and throwing in their own people, there should be an uproar about that. And see, they're testing the waters, because what do? They'll sit there and say, well, what were to happen? Well, if they sit there and they bounce that and they don't get a bad reaction and get people calling in their congressmen or senators, they'll sit there and go, we might get away with this. The only way that they'll stop it and not do it is if they think that they're going to get pushback. If they think people at that point will say, you know what, I'm going to vote for Trump then. That's the only way that they'll stop. And these are the type of things we need to be aware of, because what was it in 2018 when the House of Representatives took over by the Democrats? You know, most every Democrat that took over a Republican seat lied to their constituency to get that chair.
When they campaigned, they're just like, I'm going to do this, and this is what I stand for. And then they got into office, and then
most every single one of them promised they weren't going to vote for impeachment, and that they were going to work on making sure that things got passed and that the government was working and that jobs were being created. And the Democrats did not do any of that. As soon as they got in office, they started looking for ways to impeach. They had, they said they did as many as 7 votes to try to impeach before they finally got one. That's a lot.
They spent 3 years on that, and it failed.
That's the type of stuff we have to be aware of. This COVID thing is an annoyance. It is frustrating. And it is heart-wrenching and heartbreaking for those that have been laid off, for those that have lost jobs. But the problem that we have, or the thing we need to look at, is who do we want running the government when we pull out of these shutdowns? And that's.
I think that once this shutdown is, or this quarantine, this COVID thing is gone, I think we're just going to, we as a country, economically, we're just going to take off like a rocket ship.
Oh,
And
I
think
agree.
things are going to be done differently. So if this were to happen again, that it won't be as severe, or
I
maybe
agree.
they can, lessons learned. That's a big corporate buzzword. Lessons learned. Okay, that didn't work the last time. Let's do this differently. And and I'm also thinking about these freaking masks.
Yeah.
They're mandating, like, if you want to go into Costco starting tomorrow, you have to be wearing a mask. If you're not wearing a mask, they're not going to let you in the store. I think it's ridiculous. I understand, but I think it's ridiculous. I mean, you're talking about a virus that escaped a level 4, virus building
Facility. Yes.
Yeah, and what a little paper mask is gonna save your ass.
Well, the idea behind the mask is if you've got it, it keeps it in you. It keeps you from spreading it.
And I ended up buying some gaiters, just because if this thing gets worse, or even if it happens again,
Mm-hmm.
and these places start mandating that you need to have your face covered, then I'll be prepared.
Yeah.
I think everybody's is going to be doing things a lot differently. I can guarantee you that 95% of people out there are never going to be caught with less than a couple of packs of toilet paper.
Exactly. And that's what. Oh, really? Stefan said we have to do a pre-screening before going on site tomorrow.
Yeah, we've been doing pre-screening at my job. This last week was the first week that we started. They take your temperature before you're allowed to walk into the gate.
With my wife, they're opening up one of their offices sometime this month, and then they're leaving the option open they're going to start opening up her office, but they're leaving the option as to who goes first to the workers, because they know some people are immune compromised. And like with my wife, she said flat out, the last thing I want to do is go back to work until I know that it's clear, because she would bring it home to me.
Yeah, we're all and it's a little bit at work. We had 2 people that ended up testing positive that were coming to work sick. So those 2 people, of course, are out. And
Yeah.
they have to take their sick leave. But anybody that worked around them or with them, they get to go home, and they don't have to use their sick time, and they still get paid.
And Ellis and Wall, the reason Pelosi keeps getting reelected is because of her district.
She's a senator, so that's
No, she's a congresswoman.
Oh, she is. She's
And
the high
she is
ranking.
actually a congresswoman in the San Francisco area. And apparently the area that she actually is head of district, or the district that she comes out of, is very high-end elitists. And it's all about money there.
Yeah, you're right.
So there's, that's the downside to some of
Dude,
these
it's
people.
expensive as hell to live in San Francisco.
Oh, yes. And that is the biggest downside to some of these. That's why term limits keeps getting thrown around, is because people like her would be, her power base would get destroyed if term limits were actually put in place. She would, at that point, the Democrats would actually lose a lot if term limits came around, because at that point,
you got some old Republicans that have been sitting in that seat for 40 years.
I agree with you.
I think it ought to be 2 terms, 3 terms maybe at the most, and good, better, and different. You're gone.
And I agree with that. The problem that you have is the retirement system that they have for congressmen and senators. The reason a lot of them want to stick around in the Congress is because you can only get a retirement if you put in 30 years.
No, that's wrong.
20 or 30 years.
No, if you get reelected one time.
No, that's senators.
Is that the Senate or is
That's
that
the
Congress?
Senate. The Senate The Senate, if you do 2 terms, you get full retirement. With Congress, it's either 20 or 30 years. So that's the reason they keep running, is because if they want that retirement, they have to stick around. Senators, all they have to do is 2 terms, and they get a full retirement. So, yeah, do I think there should be term limits? Yes. I mean, I think that it should at least be that you can, okay, fine, you can do 2 terms, and then you have to at least for 1 term not run. Yes, you can come back again, but that would break it up. That would make it so that people can see other people coming in. It's not just one person. Oh, I know. Yep, same name, no problem. Check, check, check. They have to research these people. They have to look at their records at that point. That
In 1789, members of the Senate and the House made $6 a day for each day that they were in session.
Mm-hmm. So there's a lot going on. This is going to be a very important election, everybody. Just keep that in mind. We are getting to the point. I mean, Trump was almost a shoo-in until the COVID came around, and now they're saying, "Oh, well, he didn't handle the COVID right." The press has tried their hardest to make him look like he's made the wrong decisions. He hasn't. He has done everything. The mistakes have actually been on the states. Cuomo sat there and said, well, I didn't get my ventilators. Well, he sold his ventilators. California sold their ventilators. That's the reason they didn't have them. So that's a lot of crap. Okay?
That's not going to keep them from complaining and pointing fingers.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Is right now there's at this point they're even talking about. At one point they were trying to see if they could get Cuomo to be someone that people would consider.
Yeah, I read a couple of articles like that.
And they said unfortunately because he went on the path of pointing fingers, his ratings started to go down.
And even he said. He needs to stay in New York.
Yeah,
he said that.
Hannity actually interviewed him and said, "So are you going to run?" He says, "I can't." He said, "There's too much going on, and I have to stick with my state." This is the type of stuff we've got to keep an eye on because COVID is starting to let up, and everybody's going to be doing this whole look over here, look over here, look over here, but don't watch this hand.
So it's really, really good advice to this is the news that's in your face. There's all kinds of other stuff going on.
Exactly. There's all sorts of stuff that you need to keep an eye on. Come on. We're the top 4% of the United States because we served voluntarily. Part of what we did in promotions and part of what we did as soldiers is they always said you had to be up on the news. You had to be current. Okay, keep current because they're pulling the wool over our eyes. They're trying to. You need to keep your eyes open.
It's just a beat down because I mean, usually you turn the page and it's another variety of stories. But if you look at the paper or if you watch the news, there might be 1 or 2 stories in there that's not COVID related, but everything else is.
Exactly.
Somehow related to COVID because it's affecting every damn body. It's not just the United States; it's the entire world.
And we're going to be talking about that in the second hour for fun.
Oh, Owl's got some stories. I saw the list. Really funny stuff. Really. Funny
so we're going to have fun in the second hour, okay, everybody? But but just keep this type of stuff in mind. This is the type of stuff we need to, and we need to tell other people. We need to remind people what's really going on and what really happened and how it really happened. Because they're being lied to. A lot of news media outlets are lying to everybody to tote the narrative so that they can get behind their own agendas. And we need to see through that. We need to see through the agendas. All right, everybody, we are at the top of the hour. And we're going to take a 10-minute break. And I know someone who's going to go probably walk his dog.
No, dude, with my stimulus check, I bought a tiger. So I got to walk my tiger.
You're going to walk your tiger.
I'm going to have some dinner.
Are you going to start breeding? Are you going to start breeding tigers and hate Carol Baskin too?
That bitch.
That bitch. He's going to go have his dinner and settle down because he still has to work in his illustrious job. So therefore, everybody, we're going to take a 10-minute break, stretch your legs out, do some push-ups, do some leg lifts, do some squats, go to the bathroom, pop some popcorn, and we'll see you back in about 10 minutes. Okay, everybody?
It was great to be here. Great to see everybody.
Got any words of wisdom for the week?
Wow. Keep your distance, wash your hands. Sorry, I didn't have time to prepare.
All right, everybody. We will see you in 10 minutes. Shots.
Before coffee on a Tuesday, it's already been a bad week. My girls had a couple flats, and my dishwasher sprung a leak. From the kitchen, her complaining, you know it just ain't cute anymore. I get the itch and starts drifting towards the great outdoors. I smell the honeysuckle blooms, I can see the red buds too. In my garage, I got rods up on the wall. I got a John boat in the yard under a faded camo tarp. I need a reset to my spot. I hear the call. I just gone fishing. Let her know that I ain't gone. Junk mail don't come out there. My phone won't ring. The only thing I want to hear is my reel with a big one on a string. That large mouth don't talk at all, and my weight just sinks away. Set him free, bring him home. The one decision I gotta make. I smell the honeysuckle blooms, I can see the red buds too. In my garage, I got rods up on the wall. I got a John boat in the yard under a faded camo tarp. I need a reset to my spot. I hear the call. Just gone fishing. Let her know that I ain't gone. I got my tackle box in the front seat and my best friend in the bed. Don't come looking for me, 'cause I ain't coming home till long after that sunset. I smell the honeysuckle blooms, I can see the red buds too. I got the rods in my garage down on the wall. Threw my John boat in the truck, filled my camo cooler up. I hit the reset, hit my spot, and heeded that call. I just gone fishing, let her know that I ain't gone. No, I ain't gone missing, I've just gone fishing. Let her know that I ain't gone.
It seems just the same old routine. Blowing trees, writing these bars, line after line, mining for a diamond, but a dime is what I find. Hiding from the truth by simply coasting through these hard times with green, even though I'm feeling blue. But I gotta face the facts, girl, you know that it's true. And maybe what I'm supposed to do is not to get so close to you. But
these days the only things that seem great are fading away. And the only time I feel home is when I'm alone or far away. But the road calls as the wind blows. 10 missed calls on my flip phone, so it stays closed. Staring out my window while my mind slowly goes off into my headphones. Hoping that the dough will be worth it for the show, but who knows?
Yeah, let's go and roll it up, blow it all away. No sense in growing up, we laugh like kids all day. And there's nothing you can say that will ever make us change, no. We're never gonna change.
Man, day after day, it's just the same old thing. Working class life, and yes, it surely will bring a food to the table and a roof when it rains. But for the most part, you're just doing the same thing. A part of a machine with the ball and a chain. You try to be happy, yet all you feel is pain. It's a shame to use your brain and know that someone never changed. But if insanity's the game, then you can take my hand and play. Life has a rhythm that I ride to, and you can come along if you would like to. And I can show you what it's like to walk in my shoes, to learn how to love just like I do. Look me in the eye and you will find truth. I'm testifying to the lying in my mic booth. And you're hating on me cause I ain't like you, and I ain't like you.
Yeah, let's go and roll it up, blow it all away. No sense in growing up, we laugh like kids all day. And there's nothing you can say that will ever make us change, no. We're never gonna change. Yo, my life is like a movie that nobody's producing. I write the music but nobody is moving, cause don't nobody care and everyone's confused till the characters change and never reaching a conclusion. And I don't know if I'll make it to the end, cause all I know is after we begin, the wind shifts us in many different directions, like the pen lifts up off the paper disconnected from anything we can feel, hear and see. And the words that I write mean something more than just to me. It's amazing that we've all grown accustomed to change, cause we can rearrange a pattern that's always been ingrained. They want us to grow up and stop acting how we want, but if you tell me I can't do something, I'll make sure it gets done. Yeah, let's go and roll it up, blow it all away. No sense in growing up, we laugh like kids all day. And there's nothing you can say that will ever make us change, no. We're never gonna change.
WTF Nation Radio.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
I wonder what's inside your butthole. I wonder what's inside your butthole. Maybe there's astronauts and maybe there's aliens all inside your butthole. What's inside your butthole? I always want to know. What's inside your butthole? I always want to know.
Okay, that's the thought for the week. What's inside your butthole? I love it. The things kids say. All right, everybody, welcome back. It is time for the second hour of Kicking It with Koz. I am Owl, and I hope you are having a good week because I am too. Yes, Koz, I played it. I couldn't help myself. I couldn't. So anyway, yep. We were all talking about the COVID, how it's affected us. We've been talking about the politicians and how they're trying to get away with crap. But we forget about the silliness that goes on that isn't getting reported on, that nobody's talking about, that you wouldn't even think about when you start putting together what goes on when you have a shutdown. Well, lots of things go on. And I mean, you have to... Pookie used to be able to say it so fast. I love it. The things that you have to think about. People are getting cabin fever. People are getting stir crazy. And we know this because I know I am. I mean, I was really upset that I can't go camping next weekend. I was looking forward to going camping. This is me. My happiness, my happy spot. But denied. Okay, so what happens? Stefan, I love it, man. Steven says, the question is, what is in my dog's butthole and when is he getting ready to blow? Good question. And what have you been feeding him? We need to start thinking about what can we do to make our cabin fever not so stressful. I know that I'm doing exercises. I know that I'm going out and doing my wife's puttering around the yard. We're doing things that remind us that it is spring, because we are spring. We are in May. Shoot, we are in May, people. We have a was it Memorial Day? Yeah, Memorial Labor Day. I always get those two mixed up. At the end of this month. We are so close, man. Think about that. We are almost to that. It's official barbecue time. So, and last week we had on someone who had condiments, salts, seasonings, so that you can barbecue and really put some taste to it, because I know meat starts getting really boring. Really boring when you're cooking it on the stove. So start barbecuing, man. Do it. You're not breaking the rules. You're not, I mean, was it Oscar Myers now trying to push, hey, take your barbecue out into the front yard and wave at your, maybe get your neighbors to do the same thing and you can all wave and yell at each other. Hey, I'm all for it. It will get you to smile. Kind of like the stories that I got coming up. Now, we all know with the COVID, things are kind of quiet. Tour seasons for a lot of places have gone down. But think about this. Bear takes cubs for a stroll by normally a busy Greek lake. In Athens, Greece, a bear and her 3 cubs took advantage of the coronavirus lockdown in Greece by strolling along the normally busy shore of Lake Kastoria in the country's northwest. Hello, Bailey. It's good to see you. The animals were spotted by the authorities at the tourist hotspot on Wednesday evening, Greek news agency ANA reported. The walkway is normally very popular with the inhabitants of Kastoria, a city of some 47,000 people located in a valley surrounded by mountains, home to the brown bear, a protected species. But for humans, access to lakeshore has been restricted during the day and banned at night since the end of March, when an 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. curfew was imposed for the COVID pandemic. Overnight confinement combined with the lack of food created the conditions for the animals to take its young to an area of nature within the city by the lake. See, that's just it. Think about this. Okay, you have a bunch of bears, right? they're used to going around and scrounging through the garbage cans. Well, all of a sudden, they got to come in because there's not people who are giving them, leaving behind the goodies. So all of a sudden, they got to come in. So that's the type of, you think about that. And no, I'm not talking about you all. your little we're not talking about Mama Bear and cubs or Papa Bear and cubs. We're talking about actual bears. It's been recommended that residents no longer walk with their pets during the day along the north of the lake where the bear and its cubs appeared. Research is underway to determine if the bear family is staying near the city and whether it is benefiting from the absence of human activity or it is searching for food. See, think about it, okay? Everybody hears about national parks and picnic areas and stuff like that. And even where I go, they actually have an extra thing that you pull down to make sure that bears can't get into the dumpster. Okay? Now all of a sudden, bears are just walking around, man. Are they looking for food, or they just decide, well, hell, there's nobody around here. This is nice and groomed. There's lakes open. Why not, man? That's something we got to start thinking about, because the minute they start letting us out again, what are we going to run into? What are we going to find out that's going on that we didn't know about? That's going to be the interesting thing here. Exactly, Michael. I get you. I get you on that one. I'm going to be curious about what stories come alive. One of the stories that I went ahead and erased for this cycle was a funny one. It was actually a Italian, it was a German who got caught with his mistress got caught cheating because he got his COVID-19 from his mistress, and they had to track it, and the authorities had to tell his wife. Exactly. Well, I mean, right now, animals are thriving. They don't have us going out. Hunting season is not open. It is open in some areas, but it is not in a lot of them right now. They're just now opening up fishing. That's been at least a month or two that the fish have been able to do stuff without us interfering. Makes you wonder what kind of seasons and what kind of things are going to happen this year. Are we going to have more animals coming into the cities this year? As it is, where I live, we actually get some deer that come in, and even cougars. So you have to wonder, are the animals creeping in at night now? Because, well, hey, less traffic. During the day, they're sitting there going, wow, man, we can go ahead and start coming in, and we don't have to worry about what we used to worry about. Things like that. That's what we have to look forward to here soon. Now, something that we can all relate to. Coronavirus, the hidden personal grooming crisis. Paris. It's not pretty, but it's true. The first victim of the coronavirus has been personal grooming. With hairdressers, nail bars, and beauty therapists shuttered by lockdowns, many people around the world are in danger of letting themselves go. That is the fear of stylists and colorists worried about having to salvage something from the havoc wreaked on eyebrows and hairs by do-it-yourself plucking, waxing, dyeing, and cutting. Don't touch your eyebrows above all, plead Olivia whatever, creative director of the French cosmetics brand Gouralian. Let them grow. Leave a virgin forest, said the man who once looked after makeup for screen legends Audrey Hepburn and Sophia Loren. What are you guys saying? Prides of lions running on the roads, kangaroos hopping all around some Australia cities, coyotes run around New York City. Exactly. Dogs and cats living together. Total anarchy. There you go, Michael. I love it. Dogs and cats living together. Feel free to experiment with makeup, said the cosmetologist. It is or cosmetic specialist. If it doesn't work, you just take a tissue and start again. But anything with hair is a lot more risky. British makeup guru Sally Hughes, whose Beauty Banks charity has been giving donated cosmetics and toiletries to hard-pressed health staff since the pandemic started, also cautioned about some of the wackiest homemade beauty tips circulating on social media. Oh, this is interesting. Ladybeards. Oh, no. Professionals are also genuinely worried and telling me they're bracing themselves for a plethora of complex color correction appointments when they finally reopen. Yeah, that too. Oh, but ladybeards, no. Demand for some brands of hair color shot up 6 times in Britain after first week of lockdown there. Television presenter Stacey Solomon is unlikely to have been one of these battling for the last box of hair dye. She told her 3 million Instagram followers that she was letting nature run free during the confinement and putting her razor away. Let it grow, mustaches, and all declared the women who had previously joked how her children loved to stroke her beard and facial fur. Oh, no, we don't need that. All right, that's it. We need to open things up. Seriously, that's what's going to be happening here soon. And thank you at Today's Gaming for following us. No, everybody saw I cut my hair, okay? I have clippers, and my haircut is simple. Not everybody can appreciate having a nice, easy cut like this. Small streamers should support each other. Follow you. Follow back if you want it. Okay. Thank you very much, Today's Gaming. We will make sure to look you up. This is the type of stuff that we're going to start seeing a lot of. All those bottle blondes are going to be having problems. And if they even do manage to get a hold of a bottle of hair dye, you can actually scorch your scalp with that stuff if you aren't careful. And a lot of people don't know how to use that. It used to be, and I'm talking from experience, my mom and my sister back in the day, they didn't have the money to pay for stylists to do their hair as far as coloring. So they did it themselves. So they knew how to not burn their scalp. Well, a lot of girls don't know how to do that anymore because they pay for it. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. It really is. And as far as the whole woman beard, come on, people, just tweezers. Come on. I mean, let's be realistic. A guy doesn't want to snuggle up to a woman who has a bigger beard than him. That's my opinion. So, things to consider. Yeah, exactly, Daniel. Buzz cut for guys. Hey, I've actually had people sit there and say, what do I do, man? I'm all used to this stylish. It's like, you know what? Buzz cut it. By the time the shutdown is done, your hair will have grown back. And you won't be as itchy. So, I don't know. I think it's funny how people's vanity does come out during this time. People are going to sit there and worry about that type of stuff. And I do get kind of a laugh from it. The only reason I did the haircut, it wasn't because of vanity. I just can't stand the hair touching my ears. I've been that way ever since I was in the service. I just can't stand it. When I let my hair grow out when I first got out of the service, I had a ponytail, beard down to here, looked, the whole hippie ZZ Top look. Even then, having hair on my ears bugged me. I would pull my hair back just to keep it off my ears. So that's just a comfort thing. All right, let's go on to another story. Excuse me. Woman fined for taking a turtle for a walk in Rome. An Italian woman who took her pizza-sized turtle out for a walk has been fined $440 by the Roman police for breaking strict coronavirus confinement rules. Italians need a justification reason to be out on the street in the middle of a pandemic that has officially claimed more than 20,000 lives in the Mediterranean countries since February. Taking your dog out for a walk is viewed as a good enough reason to leave your home, but it seems taking your turtle out for one is not. The Roman police said the 60-year-old woman was caught outside her home without a justifiable reason. The woman was walking with a turtle. Roman police spokesman Nunzio Carbone told AFP that the woman was fined $444 because it was not a justifiable excuse. Yeah, right, Michael? It must have been a long walk. Italian authorities reported issuing a record 16,545 fines on Easter Monday, a national holiday in the largely Catholic country. Another 13,756 fines were issued on Sunday. Italians have been joking on social media about renting out their dogs to anyone who was going stir crazy and needed a good excuse to go out. Jeez. I don't know what to say with this one. I mean, jeez. To actually, okay. Okay, was the turtle on a leash or a harness? And how long was the walk gonna take? In Spain, if a dude got fined for walking his fishbowl and another for walking a chicken. See, that's just it. I mean, come on. I mean, I get it. You're stir crazy. See, here in America, at least they say go for a walk. Because if you go for a walk, you're social distancing. But they are so serious over in other countries, they're not even allowed to go for walks. Now, can you imagine that? Being told, sorry, man, you can't even go out for a walk. You have to be in your apartment 24/7. That would be very, very rough. I mean, I have my backyard. We can go in our backyard. I can go and play with my RV. But I can't imagine being told you can't even go outside. That's rough. You guys think we have it bad here. Just think about that. You get fined $440. $440 if you step outside and go for a walk. That would be rough. So think about that. I mean, people say, the United States and blah, blah, blah. I tell you what, I'll take the United States over other countries any day. Yeah, right? I would be in trouble. I would have a hard time not going out. And I don't go I stick in my yard. I do things here. But I can do things here. And in apartments in America, you're allowed to go for a walk. You're not being told you can't. They're being told that even if you're in an apartment, you can't go for a walk. That is rough. That is rough, man. Just saying. Another story. Virus brings out the jackals in deserted Tel Aviv park. Tel Aviv. With the coronavirus keeping Israelis indoors, dozens of jackals have taken over a deserted park in Tel Aviv, scavenging for food in what is usually a playground for joggers and families. Think about that. See, this is the interesting part. What happens when people are allowed to actually come out? Those animals will have kind of dug in. They'll have their homes there. The normally timid animals wander freely among palm trees and across the grass of Payarkan Park, an oasis in the Mediterranean city that was also a magnet for cyclists and picnickers until the arrival of COVID-19. Hayarkan prides itself as the lung of Tel Aviv, complete with a river and enough space for tourists to pitch tents during last year's Eurovision Song Contest when hotels were fully booked. Now, rare human visitors wear masks and use their phones to photograph jackals, the park's new occupants. Normally, the dog-like animals would only venture out from their burrows or the brushes at night in more secluded parts of the park to search for scraps left by visitors. But once you take away the trash people are littering in the park, jackals have a problem. They need to find another food source. They are wandering far from their territory searching for food. See, there you go. Where's the food? This is going to be an interesting point, and it's going to become more apparent as spring and summer come around. They really feel comfortable in the park without people. The official from the Israeli Nature and Parks Authority said the lack of food has been more acute because of the coronavirus crisis has struck right in the middle of the jackal's breeding season. On pathways lined with yuccas and prickly pear cacti, the occasional helmeted cyclist can encounter the animals who also appear undisturbed by joggers. See, that's even more interesting. They're not even running from them. Our concern is jackals will change their behavior and get used to people because some people are throwing meat to them. Oh my goodness. That's not good. Once a wild animal is making the connection human equals food, the danger is there. They'll start approaching people expecting to get food. It can be a small kid or grown-up man. They don't care. Leave them alone. Don't feed them. You know, I've touched on this about the whole animal thing, and I think at this point, I think it does need to be discussed. We need to watch out what we're doing because, like they said, those animals are going to start thinking, I mean, yeah, we feel bad for them. So what do? We feed them food. Problem is, they're going to start expecting it. And they aren't going to change their habits accordingly, so therefore they're not going to go where food is naturally. And so therefore they're going to expect that food. And when they don't get that food, they're going to get hungry. And when they get hungry, they're going to wonder if we're food. This is going to be interesting. The next month or two. You're going to see more and more of this because like I said, where I live, cougars, deer, they get caught coming into the city as it is. But when there's even less traffic, I get a bad feeling that we're going to get a lot of it. And that's not good. It's not that I don't like the animals, but they're going to get hit when traffic does start again. When the shutdown is much more open. and we're in like phase 2 or 3. Those animals are going to get caught away from their homes, and they're going to have to survive. And that's when they're going to start eating our cats and our dogs. Just saying, man. Keep that in mind. Keep it in mind. World War II veteran, 99 years old. Get this. Raises nearly $25 million for the UK health workers. No joke. No joke. A 99-year-old British World War II veteran who has become a global phenomenon for his fundraising efforts had on Friday raised almost $25 million for health workers fighting coronavirus. Tom Moore, a captain who served in India, completed his target of 100 laps of his 25-meter, which is 82-foot, garden, with the help of his walking frame or walker on Thursday, but it's still pacing his grounds as the funds continue to pour in. By Friday evening, local time, he had raised a total of just short of $20 million, or $25 million. Around 900,000 people have now sponsored the veteran, who has provided a much-needed good news story to public inundated with grim pandemic coverage, with politicians, royals, and celebrities praising him as an inspiration. Thank you so much for your incredible support and generosity so far, said the captain, who turns 100 at the end of the month in his latest Twitter update. Moore initially set himself the goal of raising I'm doing my calculations here, approximately almost $2,000 for a National Health Service charity in time for his birthday after receiving treatment for cancer and a broken hip. But his efforts have made him a global star during a pandemic that has killed more than 140,000 people, including almost 14,000 Britain alone. It's incredible. It's amazing, Prince William has said. He's been around a long time. He knows everything. It's wonderful that everyone has been inspired by his story and determination. That is cool. I mean, if you think about this, a 99-year-old man, he turns 100 at the end of this month, managed to raise $25 million with an M dollars for Britain or the UK health workers. That is inspirational. I mean that really is. That is cool. You have to love the fact that people are thinking about something other than themselves. And the fact that someone could sit there and do this. I mean, he could just simply have said, you know what, I'm going to stay in and watch TV. But he's a vet. He's one of us. He may not be an American vet, but he's a vet. And he is actually out there walking. That is cool. And that's inspirational. If he can put in that kind of mileage, what's stopping you guys? Ha, gotcha. Think about it. 99-year-old man can put in that. Why? What reason can you not? Just saying. What, you didn't think I had a purpose for that one? Here's a fun one. We got our naked story. Naked woman jumps on cop car during Spain's COVID-19 lockdown. A A woman in the buff jumped on top of a police cruiser in Spain after her court appearance for allegedly ignoring the country's coronavirus restrictions. There is a video, but no, I did not put it in because, well, it was very explicit. The video posted Monday shows a naked woman standing on a cop car outside a police station in Torremolinos in southern Spain. The woman stripped down after being released on bail for flouting lockdown rules, which include a stay-at-home mandate. 3 police officers took her back into custody and brought her to a hospital for an evaluation. The 41-year-old was first picked up by cops after she allegedly had been streaking to support the area's emergency workers. How was she supporting them? By giving them a smile? Who knows? Oh, the creativity of people's minds. You just can't. I have no words. Exactly, Albert. How do you dress during the quarantine? Hey, I'm not going to go out. What reason should I worry about it? Well, I do. Obviously, I wear things. I don't think you want to see an old man's belly or ass. So, speaking of butt,
I wonder what's inside your butthole. I wonder what's inside your butthole. Maybe there's astronauts and maybe there's aliens all inside your butthole. What's inside your butthole? I always want to know what's inside your butthole. I always want to
had to do it. Well, you are right. This is how people lose their minds. Yeah, Daniel. It's a typical Florida Monday when people strip down and run around. You know, that's just it. People are going to have their problems with this. This is the reason I tell people when I'm streaming, exercise, go for a walk. Break your routine. Now's the time to make the choice. How do you want to come out of it? Do you want to come out worse or better? I mean, we were in the service. I mean, come on. You can't tell me when you weren't in the service, didn't you sit there and say, okay, I'm going to do some push-ups because I'm bored, or, you're at work and you do some push-ups and sit-ups or whatever just because, well, why not? Or you have a PT test coming, so why not do it now? What's stopping you? Your own self. Just saying. It's a thought, man. That's the type of thing I try to help people, remind people of, is anything is possible. You just have to make the choice. All right, another story. American resilience. The first sport back. What is it? Competitive eating. Here comes sports, kind of. Who knows when the big leagues will be able to resume play, but there is at least one type of live competitive set to return soon. Major League Eating, known for the Nathan's famous 4th of July hot dog eating contest, among other festivals of face eating, will hold a March Madness-esque tournament starting April 17th. In other words, it's already started. I was going to do this last week, but I wanted to let people know there is competition. There is a sport going. Competitive eating. While there has been substantial discussion about which professional sport would be the first to return, with baseball, basketball, and golf and MMA all floating recent potential return plans, competitive eating is first to come back. Major League Eating Chairman George Shea said in a statement, "It is a powerful statement of America's resilience. The Bet Online Quarantine Challenge will feature 8 competitive eaters, including Kingpin Joey Chestnut, filling their bellies live from their homes for a $5,000 grand prize." The bracket style tournament begins with participants squaring off with 2 pounds of sliced bologna. First to finish advances. That's the qualifying round. The quarterfinals feature a family pack of Oreos and a half gallon of milk. Stop and dip at your own peril. The semis will see men and women versus 10 pounds of baked beans. Ooh, the gas! The first to finish 10 individual cups of ramen will be the winner. But there is a $11,500 prize money in all, as well as a $10,000 donation to Feeding America. Oh, and yes, I know, spanking. People probably at this point are starting to go, I want my state fair because I want my fennel cake. I want my bloomin' onion. Well, you know, you can use the excuse, I'm in competitive eating. Sign up and you can call yourself an athlete. I love it. Now, also, we know all sorts of things come to the question of the White House, including to Dr. Fauci, who has been quite the knowledgeable man about the coronavirus. But he had a 7-year-old come up with an interesting question that definitely made some people's days. Top U.S. health and infectious disease specialist Anthony Fauci has assured a young girl that the tooth fairy is not at risk of infection during the coronavirus pandemic. The popular doctor will appear Wednesday as a guest on actor Will Smith's Snapchat show, Will From Home. In a preview clip of their interview posted on YouTube on Monday, a 7-year-old girl called in from Los Angeles with a very pressing question. Can the tooth fairy still come if I lose my tooth because of the coronavirus? Asked the girl. And can she catch the coronavirus? Fauci was quick to reassure her. I don't think you need to worry about the tooth fairy, he said, smiling. When your tooth falls out, you stick it under the pillow, and I'll guarantee you that the tooth fairy is not going to get infected and it is not going to get sick. Oh, wow. That is... Oh, I didn't even do the right thing. There we go. That was Fauci. I apologize. You know, that's one thing I wanted to kind of... There's a reason I brought that story in. Everybody, we do need to remember, if we've got kids, that we do explain this. And all right now everybody is seeing is death. But there are questions that we're not hearing from our kids. And we need to think of them or ask them. Is there something you want to ask me about the coronavirus? I mean, you have to admit, for a little kid, that is a perfectly sensible question. And come Christmas, if we've still got our worries, I'll guarantee you people are going to wonder if Santa's going to come. And how many households is Santa not going to come because their parents don't have a job? That's something to think about. And I'm actually going to put a little challenge to y'all. We all know that this may hurt some people to the point where they're going to have a very bad year. If you're like me and you receive 100%, okay, I'm 100% disabled. I can set aside a little extra money this year, and I'm going to. And I'm going to try to find some people who maybe they're working but they got hard hit, or they're not working. And I'm going to try to help them with their children and maybe have a good Christmas meal. Exactly, Wall. What about birthdays? These are things a lot of us may have forgotten about, but kids didn't. Kids don't. What's the most important thing to them? Their birthdays, Christmas, vacations, playing. This is the type of thing we need to think about upcoming. And for those, I'm 100% disabled, okay? I'm planning to put money away just for that reason. And I would say if you are capable, I would suggest you, I'm not talking thousands of dollars. A family can have a good meal for $20, a good Christmas meal or a Thanksgiving meal. Things like that. And then if you know someone who their kid's having a birthday and they're not going to have able to have friends over, so they're not going to get all these presents. What's $20? That's the type of thing I'm talking about. It doesn't take much, but it's something all of us can think about because we all have good hearts. It's something, and and some of you, you're hurting, and I'm not talking about you. You need to take care of your own. I'm talking about, like I said, I'm 100% disabled. I can set aside a little bit of money just for that. And if I can do it, anybody can. I'm just saying. All right, everybody. We were just talking about vanity. German police bust seller hairdressers. In Frankfurt, finding the perfect fringe during these times of confinement may prove to be an expensive gamble after German police went underground to uncover 2 makeshift hairdressing salons on Saturday. When the officers arrived in the salons carefully installed in cellars of 2 private houses, people were having their hair done. 2 people were waiting for a cut in Eidensfeld and another in a cellar in Mammelinger, according to the German police. The salons were professionally equipped. Police have opened investigations for non-compliance with lockdown measures, which in Bavaria are among the strictest in Germany. Under the rules set down at the end of March, when confinement started, leaving home without valid reason is punishable by fines of 150 euros, which is approximately somewhere around $200. Hair salons closed like other businesses considered non-essential, however, will begin to reopen tomorrow in Germany. Like I said, guys, people are going to do stuff. People are going to do stuff out of vanity. Tell you what, it's not worth it. We're almost at the end of the tunnel. The light is starting to show. You'll make it. Don't do something you're going to regret. Talking about animals again. Animals. I love it. Mountain goats use coronavirus lockdown to take over a Welsh town. A gang of mountain goats descended on a town in Wales this week as residents hunkered down indoors on lockdown to limit the spread of coronavirus. But the herd has defied all social distancing orders, meandering into the seaside town of Llandudno in North Wales several times in the past week. I, for one, welcome our new goat overlords, Stewart tweeted, along with a close-up photo of one visitor sticking his head up through a bush it was just enjoying for lunch. The goats, which normally live on a vast headland near the sea called the Great Orme, have taken advantage of the lack of people and cars to roam into the seaside town. They have been pictured strolling the empty streets, clambering up stone walls, and feasting on the leaves of residents' neatly trimmed trees and bushes. There's no one around at the moment because of the lockdown, so they take their chances and go as far as they can. Gee, where have we heard this before? And then we've all heard Elf on the Shelf, right? Well, porch costumes provide cheer in troubled times. Colorful cast of characters appear day after day on a porch in the U.S. states of Virginia, urging people to stay upbeat and stay home during the coronavirus shutdowns. It started as a way of Erin Kimball to entertain her young cousins who she misses seeing and to keep herself busy after the catering company where she works closed. But the project, which she maintained for a month, has morphed into a way to make people laugh during a dark time, with messages coming from as far as Arizona and Tokyo. It started with a big costume and a sign saying, "This little piggy stayed home." When the image got 30,000 social media likes, she thought she might be onto something. Besides flaunting her newfound fame to her 3 college and high school age children, she now has a props shop where she brainstorms, scavenges, and repurposes everything from borrowed shirts to a plastic children's pool to one of the family dogs to assemble scenes on her stage, the front porch of her house in a suburb outside Washington, D.C. "I could probably do this for the rest of my life," she said, smiling. "This is my heaven. I like playing dress up on my front porch." Characters from pop culture and well-known movies all include messages that play on famous lines urging people to heed orders to not to go out, to wash their hands, and stay upbeat. E.T. the Terrestrial urges people to stay home. And Waldo the Lost, character of picture books with icon red and white striped shirt and funny hat, says, "I'm right here." Oh, brother. You know, that's the positive attitude we need to remember. And that's kind of what I wanted to remind everybody before I said goodnight tonight, everybody. We've got a tough couple weeks coming up. Some places are opening up, some places aren't. Some people still have to worry that things are going to get worse. We don't know. But we're resilient. We will be okay. And I'll tell you, like I've told people on my stream, this is just one moment. And when the moment has passed, this too shall pass. And you will move forward. It's your choice how you come out of this. Will you come out of it worse for wear or better for wear? One choice is all you have to make. And that choice is how you take it. All right, everybody. It's time for housekeeping. We have guests. May 5th, which is Tuesday, we have Travis Miller, retired Army infantryman and current comic book creator. Travis Miller will be joining CQ and Radar on Pop Culture Warrior. His current project, The Last Patrol, is based on actual events during the Iraq War. That should be a very good one. Should be fun. Now remember, everybody, we have shows. Monday, we have the Monday Night edition with Ice and Flash. Tuesday, we have Pop Culture Warrior with CQ and Radar. Wednesdays are our Donza or Meditation days. And Thursdays are Sergeant's Time with Ice and Spanky. And then, of course, you've got Sunday with Kicking It with Koz, which is with Koz and Owl, which is me, Owl. We will make it. You will make it through. It is your choice and it is your ability. You've been in worse situations, especially if you're a veteran. Come on. You can't tell me you've been in worse. You haven't been in worse, because I know I have been. I know I have been. So you'll make the best of it. Get creative. Do stuff. Grill. Hey, it's barbecue season. Do what it takes. Go for a walk. Do some push-ups during the commercials. Whatever it takes to remember you and to come out of this better. All right, everybody, it is that time. I always appreciate you showing up. You guys have a good rest of your week, and remember to keep it simple, to keep it real, and to remember to smile, because you just don't know who you're going to help, including yourself. All right, everybody. I love you, and I'll see you next week.
Before coffee on a Tuesday, it's already been a bad week. My girls had a couple flats, and my dishwasher sprung a leak. From the kitchen, her complaining, you know it just ain't cute anymore. I get the itch and starts drifting towards the great outdoors. I smell the honeysuckle blooms, I can see the red buds too. In my garage, I got rods up on the wall. I got a John boat in the yard under a faded camo tarp. I need a reset to my spot, I hear the call. Just gone fishing, let her know that I ain't gone. Junk mail don't come out there, my phone won't ring. The only thing I want to hear is my reel with a big one on a string. That large mouth don't talk at all, and my weight just sinks away. Set him free, bring him home, the one decision I gotta make. I smell the honeysuckle blooms, I can see the red buds too. In my garage, I got rods up on the wall. I got a John boat in the yard under a faded camo tarp. I need a reset to my spot, I hear the call. Just gone fishing, let her know that I ain't gone. I got my tackle box in the front seat and my best friend in the bed. Don't come looking for me, 'cause I ain't coming home till long after that sunset. I smell the honeysuckle blooms, I can see the red buds too. I got the rods in my garage down on the wall. Threw my John boat in the truck, filled my camo cooler up. I hit the reset, hit my spot, and heeded that call. I just gone fishing, let her know that I ain't gone. No, I ain't gone missing, I've just gone fishing, let her know that I ain't gone.
WTF Nation Radio.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
Please enjoy the show. Shots.
I wonder what's inside your butthole. I wonder what's inside your butthole. Maybe there's astronauts, maybe there's aliens. Oh.